Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Smoko podcast. My name is Alexis Armstrong, your host. Nice to meet you. The Smoko podcast is a place to celebrate and highlight women, trans women, and non-binary folk working within STEM and trade occupations. So please tune in, take a break, join us. We're on Smoko. Today, we're extremely lucky to be joined by the lovely Yahara Vasquez, who's a general contractor. She's a second-generation carpenter. She has a degree in architectural engineering. She specializes in new constructions or new builds. And in 2021, she started her own company called Built by Her Construction. And so we're going to talk all things carpentry, her company built by her, and her experience working within trades. So Yara, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it. It's so nice to meet you. Yara, to kind of start us off, I know that you're a second generation carpenter. Could you kind of speak to the experience of growing up in a trades family and how this impacted you to become a carpenter as well?
Well, I guess I grew up in a very traditional household where the men just worked and the women stayed home. And my dad was very traditional. Like, he would take me to job sites, but he wouldn't let me actually work. So I learned by watching. So for, 18 years that I was there, I would just go and watch. And every time I would ask if I can try it, he would say no. So it wasn't until after I moved out that I was like, you know what? I'm going to do carpentry.
Cool.
I had to build things in my mind, but I couldn't actually do it. But when I would do it the first time, it just felt kind of natural.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, that's kind of beautiful that it clicked in, that all of a sudden when you tried it, you're like, yeah, I've been watching this and learning by osmosis, whether I knew it or not. But that's crazy that he didn't teach you and you were asking for it. And then what was that reaction when you told him to be like, hey, I'm also a carpenter. Like, I've gone back to school. I'm an architect now. Like, how did that conversation go, if I can ask?
Well, actually, when I told him that I wanted to go to school for architecture, he was not on board.
Okay. Oh, shame. I'm sorry to hear that.
Find something else. Just pay the bill. Like, architects don't have a regular 40-hour week job or whatever. But I still did it. And it wasn't until my last semester of college, he accepted it and then called me and apologized. And after asked if he can, pay for my last term. And he gave me a work truck and tools. And
Aw, that's really cute. I'm happy that he came around. Like, that's a lovely end of it. And I'm sorry that he didn't at first. Like, that must have been very, very hard, and I can't imagine it, but I'm happy that you got a work truck and he came around and was super supportive at the end. And
he's really supportive now. His girlfriend also works in construction, so I thought it was kind of funny.
The women in his life. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I like that the women in his life are in construction and that you're in it as well. And it's probably a really cool thing now that you're a carpenter that you can talk about it and talk about construction and talk about building things. And that brings us to kind of our second one is just congratulations. Because you're in 2021, you started your own business, which is a huge freaking feat. That's a huge thing, Built by Her Construction. Could you kind of talk to how your company came to be, how you decided to be like, yep, I'm going to make my own firm, the experience of starting it. And then if people are unaware and they don't know Built by Her Construction, could you kind of describe what you guys do?
Well, I guess I started my business because I couldn't really find anything that fit me as a mom.
Okay.
It was like you either work 60 hours or you don't work at all. There is no in between.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that doesn't work as a mom. There's no way.
And I was working for this one company and it just having to ask for days off so you can take your kids to appointments. It just didn't seem to like it. Or me leaving at 4 so I can pick up my kids from daycare.
Yeah, it just wasn't designed for women. It wasn't designed for moms.
Everybody else stayed till 6. And
yeah.
But they're just used to those hours, I guess.
Well, I think too that they probably have someone at home that are taking care of the kids, that are picking up the kids. But you're like, no, this is me, man. I have to leave at 4 to go pick up my son. I have to go.
So I stopped working there and then I worked I remodeled my house and then I
Amazing.
built my own house. And I was like, well, I think it's time. I think I'm ready. Because I didn't know how to bid and I didn't know all these other things. So it's like, if I built my own house, then I know how much things cost and how long it's going to take. So then I finally did it.
I I love that answer. I love how casual and nonchalant you are of just being like, yeah, like I remodeled it, which is like a huge feat in itself. And then just to be like, obviously the next step was to build my own house completely. And then the next step was start a company. Like those are two huge things. So
Yeah.
like
For me, it seems simple, but I figured it out.
like that's amazing. That's like how was that process of starting? I guess you're your first customer, which is really cool. How was that process of building your own home? Was it really like daunting or scary, or you were just like, no, I got this. I've been building houses or watching them being built for years?
Actually, no. Actually, the hardest part was the administrative part and like the
Okay.
project management part.
Yeah, I could see that of just being like, what
Everything else,
goes when?
it just went by pretty smoothly.
Very cool. And so then now your business, are you guys kind of a one-stop shop of building a house completely from scratch? Or what are your kind of services? What does Built by Her Construction do?
I mostly do everything except for concrete, drywall, and roofing.
Oh, wow. That is the entirety of the house, other than like kind of the foundation and the roof. That's it. So everything else you guys do.
Yeah. And the electrical and plumbing because they have to be,
A different trade. Yeah.
electrician, licensed plumber. But yeah, I mean, when I told my husband that I was starting a company, he was just like, what are you going to do? What do you mean? Like, I don't know if he wasn't like, he never saw my actual work, really. That's for the remodel. And he was kind of like skeptical. I don't know. He wasn't on board 100%.
Well, I hope he's on board now. Yeah. I hope he can see it now or can like
Yeah.
appreciate it because it's more hands on.
Yeah, he's super supportive now. He's always showing my work to people. And
Aw, that's
yeah,
really cute. That's very cool. And do you have, Yara, do you have kind of like a standard house that you built, or is every single house, every single project different, or is it kind of standardized? How does that work?
no, actually, I I hate the regular schmeller houses, I guess. Mhm. I don't like that each house looks the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that, especially as an architecture student or like an architect. Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
You want it to look
So I
unique.
have someone who draws out my plans. I draw them on, I sketch them out, and then I have
Cool.
my friend. She makes the plans and everything, and then I submit
Wha-
them. But they're all
Wow. That's beautiful. So that's a really cool aspect of it that everything's unique and designed and custom by you. That's fantastic. That's really cool.
yeah.
That's wonderful. And do you have a
Oh, well, my husband, again, he's like, well, make them, simple and regular. Like, no, I can't. Nicely designed and they have to be different.
Oh, I love that. And I'm sure your clients love that too, that they're not just in a regular house.
And then, like, as someone who's looking for houses, I would prefer something different,
Totally.
something simple, I guess.
Yeah. It's fun for
I need
you guys to make.
$10 less at the end of the day.
I
What I put out.
love that. I think that's so beautiful. And I love that it's so unique and you can actually have joy in what you put out and like feel proud of it and be like, yeah, everything's gonna be different. Do you guys have a big team or is it kind of just you running almost everything?
Kind of just me. I kind of just, my schedule's kind of free flowing. I don't really have specific dates for anything. So this year I'm building 2 houses.
Wow, congrats. That's huge.
Hopefully I can hire somebody because I'm kind of going crazy right
I could imagine like it's a lot of work that goes into one house, let alone two. And I mean, you're up in Washington, so you're the same as us, is that you have a seasonality problem. Like as soon as the fall hits, that roof better be on it, right? Like it's going to be complete winter time. So you only have a short break. I'm sure this summer is crazy busy.
Then I like to schedule my stuff like framing and that, what is it, outdoor stuff during the summer. And
Hmm.
then the winter, I do like more interior stuff because
Hmm.
I don't like the rain and the cold.
No, you can't, right? Like you have to kind of have things done in a stepwise way to make it work best for you and your crew. And I couldn't imagine how much work that is to do two houses. That's crazy. That's awesome though. That's very cool. Maybe this is kind of brings us to the next one. And maybe there's no answer to this. When I wrote this question, I was like, I feel like this doesn't exist for her. But the question is, what does a typical day look like? But my guess is you don't have a typical day. I bet you every single one is like a little bit different or unique.
Yeah, I guess every day is different, but I do kind of keep it consistent.
Okay.
Like I go to work, I drop off my kids at 8. I go to work till 2:30 and then I pick up my kids and then I cook and clean dinner and then the rest of the evening free. Sometimes
Yeah.
I go back to work in the evening. I'm like trying to finish the project or on a Saturday where I have the whole entire day and my husband can watch the kids.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
could
have
come
a
out.
regular babysitter. It's super, again, I live in the middle of nowhere, so it's hard to find a babysitter out here. So if I can work weekends, that's better for me.
Yeah. No, thank you for bringing that up because I think that's like a good. I think sometimes we think of like a work day of like a 9 to 5 work day, and you're like, that doesn't really work for moms or like work in our industry. And like sometimes a Saturday is the best day for work, right? Like that makes sense that that's going to be kind of your schedule. And thank you for kind of speaking about doing both, like being in trades and also being a full time mom. Like, of course, 2 o'clock, you're like, yeah, I got to go get my kids. Like, this is two businesses. You're running a business of being a mom and you're running Built by Her construction. Like, it's a full day. And when you get to work at your sites, is it kind of a site by site task? Like is some days a tile day, some days a frame day, or is there kind of a flow to it?
I guess. Yeah, there's specific days where I'm like, I'm going to do that. But other days where it's just kind of like, maybe I have a little ADHD. Yeah, a different task all day. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I do the same thing. I think, well, actually, I have ADD. I think there might be something about sciences and trades about being neurodivergent because I do think it just goes hand in hand. Like there's so much to do. You have so many tasks that you can kind of just jump from dopamine to be like, yeah, you know what? I want to frame today, or I want to use the nail gun for an hour and then I want to go back to tiling. Like they all have to get done at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
very cool. And in a new build, like I don't really know what is a new build. So could you maybe start there, Yara, of like, what does a new construction look like? What are the steps of building a house from scratch? How does that work as a carpenter when you come on and you build something from the ground up? What goes into it?
Well, first the permitting part and figure out your utilities. Figure that out first. Septic.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Oh, gross and necessary. Okay.
you have to take care of that first.
Okay.
And then your plans. Obviously, it snows a lot here, so you have to
Yeah.
do engineering besides your regular plans. You can't just purchase online plans.
Okay.
That too. It snows with the snow dome is like 70 here.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Very high. I'm sure you get a lot of snow in Canada.
Yeah, yeah, we do. But it's the same. Like you do have to get it ready for weather and ready for winter. And so that goes part of it. This does sound like a lot of admin stuff. I know at the start you said that one of the hardest thing was admin. I could see it. Like, are you going back and forth to the city 24/7 to try to be like, get
Yeah, sometimes. The first house, yeah, because I didn't know what I was doing. I know, and they wouldn't explain why it was wrong.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah, they're like, come back. You're like, I don't know what form to bring back, ma'am. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. But
Shame.
now I got it together.
I love it. I love it. Love it. And then
18 inspections after each phase.
what?
Concrete gets 1, concrete and deep rebar, depending on what kind of foundation you put down,
Okay.
or 2, and then framing gets like 3.
God
And then
damn.
plumbing, electrical, HVAC, all those get 1.
Wow.
and then your final. But yeah, there's like 18 of them.
That's a lot. That's a lot of checks. Like, are they checking? What are they checking in carpentry? Like, what do you have to look out for when you're building and framing?
Because the most important one is for when you're framing your connections, your hangers and all that stuff, and your loads, your beam sizes,
Oh, okay.
and your nail pattern.
Whoa, that's very cool.
The plywood.
Cool. So like all structural stuff for safety. Cool. Very, very cool. I love it. I don't know. I don't think people think in construction or in building of how complicated it is, of like, it has to be structurally sound for it to function as someone's home. That's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot more work. And then at the end, trying to get everything together, make sure you didn't miss anything.
Yeah, I could imagine. Do you have a favorite thing or favorite like step of the whole project that you're like, yeah, this is my favorite?
My favorite, framing and tile.
Oh, okay. Why framing and tile? What about it?
For tile, I think it's just pretty and it goes quick.
Okay.
Come to life pretty quick and it's like, oh, so pretty. And then for framing, I don't know, it makes you feel like a badass.
Oh, I could imagine it feeling like a badass because you're like
just holding the nail gun, just like it's like super fun. And you get to see this whole structure and just like, wow.
I can see it, imagine it, like just seeing it pop up and be like, yeah, I built that. Like that was nothing and now it is. What I love is you're my second carpenter who I've talked to. And she said the same thing. She was like, that nail gun. Like, I think that there's something about carpentry and nail guns that go hand in hand because it's 2 for 2 right now. Being like, that makes me feel like a badass is using that tool. Was it scary? Or no, you're like instantly got used to it and just loved it?
No, actually, it's kind of funny because I'm actually more scared of the paint gun than the.
Really? Why the paint gun? I feel like that's the least scary thing.
It's gonna dry or something, and then I'm not gonna be able to clean it out or something. I don't know. Spray everywhere.
So it's like not in a danger way. It's like almost in like a cleaning. It's a mom practical thing of being like, no, man, we have to paint really quick or else paint's going to go everywhere and it's going to be a pain in the butt to clean.
Yeah.
That's a funny thing. You wouldn't expect it. Other than the paint gun being kind of a pain in the butt if it gets dried out and it's all mucked up. Do you have something that's challenging? Maybe it is the paint gun, maybe that's it. Or is there something that you don't like to do in new builds and carpentry?
Well, just the things that I don't know how to do that well. For like really tedious finish work.
Oh, okay. And what is that? What would be an example of like a tedious finish work? I don't know anything about it. So
I don't know, maybe like crown molding or something.
oh, that does look tedious.
Like, takes all day.
It's very precise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It probably doesn't have that like instant reaction of framing that you can see it come up, right? Like it's slow. It has to be completely level. I feel like it's something that you instantly see on a house if it's not level or if there's something messed up with it. Your eye just goes straight to the crown molding.
There you go.
I could imagine that. Okay. So something like that. Is there something that you're kind of like working on, a new skill? You said something that you don't know how to do. Is there something you're working on?
Concrete. Something I would want to learn or be better at, but I don't really do concrete.
Mm.
So
and
make some nice driveways or something. That'd be cool.
Oh, that would be really sick. And do you usually do concrete by hand or you do it by a truck? How does that usually work?
Usually I just do like form. Like when I do decks, I just not hand mix it, but I use the mixer, the little push mower thingy. I don't really do too much other than that.
That's cool though. That would be really cool to learn. Like, I feel like, yeah, some cool decks, some cool driveways. Like concrete would be a really useful skill to have, right? That's awesome. Can you kind of just teach yourself or does it have to be a full ticket? How would that work?
That would probably be like how there's some kind of project, personal project that I would
Okay,
practice on.
cool. Another remodel. Yeah. Something else at your own home of making it and then go from there.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Well, I love that. I hope that you do learn about it because I think that's really cool. And this, yeah, maybe it goes into our next one of what's something that's exciting to you about construction? Like what's something that you're nerding out about that you're really geeked up about? Maybe it's like a tool, a technique, a new skill, and then what's something new that you're learning in carpentry and construction? Maybe that's cement, and maybe that's the one that you're geeking out about.
See what everything work, and then come back home and show what I did.
Aw, that's a good answer to show the kiddos. I love
Yeah.
that.
And then my daughter's always telling people.
Oh, that's so cute. How old is she?
She's 10. She's like, when I
Oh,
do business, can you tell people like I tell people about your work?
oh my goodness. What a cheeky little, that's so cute. And like, how powerful is that she already is 10 and being like, because she sees her mom do it to be like, I'm going to start a business as well. And I'm going to do this. That's pretty amazing. I'm sure that feels really good. I'm sure
Yeah.
that, yeah. Have you brought her to site? Kind of how you grew up that you went to site? Have you brought her out that she can see?
She does like it, but not like for long periods of time. She'll do it like for 2 hours or something. She'll be like, okay, I'm hot.
I could imagine that.
Can I go in the shade?
What a cutie. You're like, yes, you can. You can go sit
Yeah.
in the shade. 2 hours is a lot of kid time, though.
Yeah, that's plenty.
Yeah.
And my
That-
son, he can work all day.
does he come too?
Yeah, he loves it.
Oh, does he get to kind of, how is he younger, older?
He's 6, yeah.
Oh, he's 6. Oh my goodness. That's really cute. Probably just like carrying like a piece of wood all day and saying
Yeah.
he's helping. Yeah.
So he likes the drill.
Oh,
Starts drilling everything.
I love that so much. And I love having kind of that younger generation coming to site and also seeing their mom being able to do all these skills. Like that's crazy powerful and crazy cool. And I think that's the best answer. I wasn't expecting it. I love that answer of being like, what excites you is like seeing your kids interact with it. I think I could imagine how good that is.
One day, at least one of them could take over.
Oh, I'm sure. If you already have 2 of them coming to site and wanting to start businesses, they could even start it together. Like that's really, really cool. Oh, I love that. And maybe this is a little bit of a different tone of it, but one thing of starting your own business built by her is I could imagine, like, unfortunately, I feel like you've probably had to deal with kind of asshole people who have a misconception about like a woman's owned trades business. And I'm sure you've shown up on site sometimes and people are like, who are you? And you're like, I own the business. I am your carpenter. Has this happened to you? I hope it hasn't. I'm sure it has, unfortunately. And how do you deal with this? If someone's going through something the same way, what is your advice to them? What helped you through it?
Yeah, I mean, I do still experience that.
Yeah.
When I was a supervisor, it just kind of like people would come and ask for the boss, and I'd be like, can I answer your question? Supervisor.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no. Can I talk to the real boss? And so the real boss
Is me.
your question.
Yeah.
And then finally they'd be like, okay, so I have a question over here. But it takes a little work. Some people don't get it. And then sometimes, like, in public, just, like, explaining what I do is interesting. Because most of them are like, oh, so you're like a DIY chick.
Oh, come on now.
No, not exactly. Like, I build homes. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, so, like, do you build furniture? They're like, what do you do? I'm like, no, I build houses.
Yeah.
But, like, I have to... And then I show my work and they're like, oh, so you're like a carpenter.
You're like, yes. Yeah. From the very beginning, I'm a carpenter. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah. I just try to avoid kind of like large projects or projects where there's other subcontractors around or large subdivisions.
Okay.
It can get a little nasty
Oh, shame.
sometimes. Like the last year I built a house where there was other kind of houses and contractors next door, and they would come over and ask why I'm there.
Oh, that's so annoying. Are they in the industry too? Is that other
Yeah,
carpenters and subtrades?
bringing taking care of your kids.
Ugh. Aren't you supposed to be taking care of your kids, sir? Like we both are parents. Come on. I bet you both of us are parents. That's
And normally those, like, unfortunately, it's from my own people.
okay.
They're super traditional, and so they just expect me to be home.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so sorry to hear that. I didn't even think of that there could be like a cultural aspect of it or it's like from your people in your own culture and your own community, but that must hurt. Like I would be pissed off. I'm pissed off just hearing that that's happened to you and I'm
It's like,
so sorry.
go away,
Yeah. Like mind your business. Like come on.
get out of here.
Yes. And you're like, I own this. Like, this is my company. Like, we're building this home. And you would expect to be like, wouldn't you want your daughter to have this as well, to be a business owner, or to
Like, why would you not wish for women to be successful in if you have a daughter
within your
or son?
community? Yeah. Like you would expect them to kind of be your champions. And I didn't even think that about you explaining your job to other people. And there's no hate to women who get into working with tools or working with trades by like woodworking and do it yourself, DIY. Because like that is how a lot of women get first influence with working with their hands and making something. Like there's no shade to that, but to for you to be like, yes, I'm a carpenter, and then for them not to believe you and to instantly discredit you, and for you have to like build it up to be like, yes, please see me as to where I actually am and that this is my business and I'm building full scale houses is very annoying. And I'm sorry that you've had to deal with
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I mean, no hate to DIY chicks.
No, not at all.
And a stay-at-home mom and know how it feels to, be with the kids all day and then, it just kind of gives you something else to do. And
Yeah.
DIY. I'm very supportive of that. But like, it's just telling like a doctor that they're a nurse.
Yes. Yeah. Like they're not introducing themselves as the carpenter, right? Like they're not being like, yes, I built like one thing at home and now I'm a carpenter. You're introducing yourself as a doctor and then they're not seeing you for what you are, seeing you for that trade. What helps you get through it? Is just ignoring it? Like how do you kind of get over that and those misconceptions?
I guess it doesn't bother me so much anymore. I guess because people now know me. The other contractors around here kind of know me. Sometimes they even they're like, hey, you want to take a job for me?
Oh, good.
Want to get it? And stuff like that. We kind of bounce off each other. But yeah, it's a little, they're getting used to it, I guess.
Yeah. So just kind of takes time a little bit and like building
Yeah.
that community.
And then they see me working and they're like, whoa, okay. Yeah, you got
Mm.
it.
That's actually very powerful. Sometimes that makes the most impact is like I've had guys say rude things to me when I've come on site or like when I came on the drill ship. I think a couple said some off comment things, be like, you're not going to survive in this environment. And then after a couple weeks, when they see you still like being able to do your job and do it well and to be able to be comfortable in that environment, they're like, oh, okay. They don't say anything. They're not like, oh, yeah, kudos, but they're just kind of like, ah,
Yeah.
okay. And then they'll start giving you projects and talking to you a little bit more and it becomes more normalized.
Yeah, actually, I had my last employer, he hired me. He was kind of skeptical. He didn't really think too much of me,
Yeah,
but he hired me because I guess I was kind of in the family.
I love it. Good.
I knew I was related to his daughter-in-law. So he gave me a job just to say that he did it, I guess. But then he hired me and then he realized that I was actually skilled. And
Good.
then he's like, oh, actually, I'm going to pay you more because I see that you're doing more within the first week.
Oh, that's amazing. That doesn't happen often. That's really good. I'm happy he came around.
He warmed up to me.
Yeah. I mean, It's silly that he shouldn't, because I think that sometimes guys are instantly given that validation and that check to be like, oh, yeah, they know what they're doing, even if they might not have the same qualifications. So it's a shame that we still have to do that. But I'm happy that he came around and like saw you work. And I'm happy that it doesn't bug you as much anymore, or isn't like as common as you've gotten a name for yourself in the community. Right. That's lovely.
Yeah, it's nice now.
And I'm sure on the flip side of it, that like on the opposite side of it, is that for some people, they're going to not understand what you do. They're not going to give you kind of the recognition that you deserve right away. But for others, they probably see that you're this woman in carpentry, you're a carpenter, you've started your own business. You're probably going to be a huge inspiration for those people. I know you're already an inspiration for your kids that you talked about and your daughter, but could you kind of speak to the opposite of that, of being a woman in trades and kind of representing that for maybe younger generation or people in the community? And then could you maybe talk about like any future goals of your business and where you want it to go?
Yeah, actually, there's definitely a lot more supportive people out there than those handful of
Good.
people. Yeah, a lot of the dudes are supportive. They're very supportive.
I love that.
I have a lot of friends that I still talk to and I call if I need help or what I do here or whatever. And I have my friend Jeff. He's very supportive, him and his wife, and they're always like sending me like links to apply to like women-owned businesses and all this stuff. Help
Oh,
me out a lot.
oh, I love that. That's fantastic. Like by links, is it like kind of grants and different organizations to be a part of?
Organizations that do scholarships and all this stuff.
Oh, I love that.
Free cool like giveaways and whatnot.
Oh, sick. That's so nice to have like those people in your corner. I love that. And I'm sure you've gotten like a bunch of support too from like women in the community. I'm sure that's happened as well.
Yeah, a lot of the women, even like bystanders, people walking by, they're like, "Oh, how cool,
Ah.
pink." And they
uh,
like, "Well, girl," every time. Like, there's this old couple that walks around this one job site that I have, and they're always like, "Yeah."
oh, that's so cute. I would bring them like a coffee every morning. Like that must make your day.
Yeah, it does it makes everything else better. Like, and then you forget about all the other.
Yeah, totally. Like that's the way to like get over it, is that it just becomes drowned out. Like that's really cool that you get inspiration like that and that people are inspired and are yelling nice things. Like I absolutely love that. That's really cool. And
Man, I have kind of a special project I wanted for this year.
oh, okay. What's that?
I've already built most of my home.
Yes.
So I wanted to make it 100% women built.
Oh, cool.
I'm outsourcing female electricians, plumbers, and HVAC and roofers.
Oh, that's amazing. Yara, that's really cool.
To build a female built house.
Wow. I absolutely love that. That's really, really cool. That's probably one of the first ones. I don't know if that's happened or it might have already, but probably very rarely. That's really, really cool. And that's cool that that's in your community of all these other women owned business. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm actually having women build days. So I don't know if you're interested also.
Yes, I would love to. I would love to come.
I'll be starting to frame.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to I haven't really thought it out too much, but like Saturday,
Cool.
yeah, full of women to come out and we'll frame a little, go for a little hike or whatever. There's like a little, the Pacific Crest Trail
Yes. Yeah.
runs right through my lot.
Oh,
Pretty-
so gorgeous. That's
Yeah.
pretty.
So- and then maybe like camp or something. Make it
Um,
fun.
That sounds like the best weekend. Thank you for the invite. I will definitely come. That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Just a built by her day. I absolutely I love that idea. And will that teach like young women how to frame and what's going on? Or do you have to have any experience?
Just anybody who's interested, really.
Oh, I love that
Just
idea.
getting
Okay.
a lot of DMs and messages of like, how do I get a framing job if these guys aren't telling me?
What
Yes.
to do. Yeah, exactly. Because that's a huge barrier, right? Is like, how do you first start if you're interested in this, you've gone to school, but maybe people aren't going to give you that job right away. Like you said, your first one was kind of a connection through the family of like a favor to be like, oh yeah, I hired her. And it wasn't until you proved it. But how do you get that? So that's really cool that this could kind of be a way to get that and to like first come in and do these like women owned projects. Did you know the other women who have done an HVAC company and a roofing company and a tiling company, or did you just meet them for the first time through Instagram? How did that work?
I've been searching through Instagram. I found a roofer and I found an electrician, and I have a friend that's an HVAC installer. I'm hoping they can come through.
I love that. It's like the A team of house building, of construction. I am obsessed with that. That's really, really cool. When would be that project? Do you know? Would that be the one of the projects you're working on right now?
Yeah, that's my spec home. It's 1,400 square feet. It's a small house
Okay.
that I'm gonna frame by myself. By myself, except for the women building.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that. I like a special project. I love the women built days. I think that's beautiful. Thank you again for the invite. I will see you in August. I love it.
I there's gonna be some girls that have never done it, so it'll kind of give them some kind of clue as to actually if they want to do it or not. Because framing is
Mhm.
hard. It's one of the hardest trades, I guess, in residential, anyways.
I could see that.
And I'll just show them if they want to do it or not.
Yeah. And it's also a really like safe space to do it. And it's a safe space probably to ask questions because it's really scary when you're in like kind of a room of men to be like, oh, I actually don't know how to use this tool or I've never learned that before. I I remember one of my first jobs, I got given a bunch of tools and I grew up in a family without tools. I did not know how to use anything. I just stood there pretending to work for a good 20 minutes until I finally had the balls to be like, okay, I have no idea what's going on. Cause that's a big scary thing, right? So this type of organization, I think that would be really beautiful is people can ask questions. They can say honestly if they like it or dislike it. They can like be open to learning something and it's just a little bit of a safer space that they can actually kind of admit that because it is really scary when you're the only girl to admit that you don't know something where you already kind of feel like maybe it's not for me, right?
Yeah, and then just the ability to feel or be girly, I guess.
Yeah.
My issue was when I worked for construction companies, try not to be too girly or, you know, not wear a lot of pink or wear baggy clothes or whatever. So it's going to be a safe space for them to learn.
I love that.
Be
And
themselves.
that honestly, like you just touched on something so powerful that I think if you're not in our industries or like in our environments that you don't think of it, but to be authentic and to be girly or to be feminine is a really scary thing. And you're taught right off the get go that you have to kind of assimilate. Like you have to act a certain way. You have to kind of look a certain way. And if you don't look like that, one, you're not going to be taken seriously. Or two, it could be dangerous to you. I was told it was dangerous to me, right? To like cover, to be in mining and stuff, to be like cover up, to make sure you wear baggy clothes. Like don't let anyone know that you have boobs. And you're like, well, what am I supposed to do? I have them. Like they're going to see them eventually. Like I don't know. I don't know what to do here. Right. So
Yeah.
that's a big thing is being allowed to be yourself.
What I've learned is it doesn't matter what you wear.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
No, it's a silly thing. It's a useless exercise because you're like, at the end of the day, I'm still myself. I'm still a girl in this environment. It's going to come through. Like whether I dress uncomfortably that doesn't feel aligned to myself or I dress in clothes that are aligned to myself and to I'm still the same person. It doesn't really change anything, right? I don't know. I think that's a really powerful thing that you're allowing them to have with dress. And I'm sorry that you went through that as well, that you couldn't dress a certain way or couldn't dress like yourself in one of your jobs.
Yeah. It took some time. But
What?
like, and it was like mostly for not to not get asked out on dates and stuff.
Yeah,
But it doesn't matter what you wear, you're still gonna get asked out.
completely. It's still, it's not going to change anything. And like, what helped you become kind of more authentic in this workspace? Was it that like a light bulb moment that it switched, or again, was it kind of just more time and getting more comfortable?
Yeah, I guess finding the right company to work for
Mm.
has been. I switched a lot of jobs, a lot.
I think
I
that's good.
lasted more than like 4 months at one place.
Yara, that's a good thing though, because
Comfortable, and
yeah,
the people that I worked with were comfortable and nice, and weren't didn't say anything.
I think that protects yourself. Like, I think that's a good way to do it, is to find your people, find people that are going to actually respect you. You shouldn't have to change so many times to be able to try to find a company that respects you and treats you well and without being harassed. But yes, keep moving until you feel comfortable in a
Yeah,
place. I
I
think,
find that right place to work.
yeah, no, I think that's really good advice. And thank you for kind of speaking on that. And the next one is, I know that we've already kind of talked about it a little bit, but it was going back to your two jobs and the melding of both being a mom and a carpenter. Is, have you taught your kids any skills yet? Like, I know your son, he walks around with a drill. Your daughter loves visiting and wants to start her own little, she's a CEO in training. But have you taught them kind of any aspects of framing or any skills or tools yet?
Slightly, like here and there, like the tape measure, like little things, like how to
Oh,
read the tape measure or like stuff like that. Or this is level,
okay.
can you hold it? So it has to be level. Stuff
Oh,
like little things, not super complicated stuff, because I don't want them to like not be bored or like think they have to work really hard
yeah.
to not be interested anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, you want them to still kind of have that excitement and still have that kid aspect of it. But
And
I
they like seeing plans and stuff.
oh, okay. Like seeing the designs of the
Yeah.
houses.
My daughter loves, like, she wants to scout the tile and the flooring and all that stuff.
She's like you. Yeah, that's like exactly your favorite part of tiling, because it's so pretty that she likes to probably seeing all that. Like mom.
Yeah, so I think I could see her being like a designer.
Oh, very cool. I like that. And it must feel really cool to have like the third generation and to bringing your kids up that this is something that's accessible to them, that they're able to do trades if they want to, that this is kind of, it's made for them, especially made for your daughter, that this environment is made for her as well as it is made for your son.
Yeah. I guess I'm teaching them or things that are having them experience things that I wish I would have experienced growing up.
Yeah, I could imagine that. Cause like it sounds like growing up, you wanted to experience it and kind of were told, no, like this isn't for you. And so I think it's beautiful you're breaking that and showing your daughter to be like, yeah, if you want this is all available to you. You deserve to be in this environment. You can be in this environment. Like that's pretty beautiful. And
Yeah.
congratulations.
Also, I'm not going to be pushy. If they don't want to do it, then that's fine.
Yeah. But
Take-
still though, like it's still a really good mom, and like that's absolutely amazing, and congratulations on doing that. Like that's very beautiful. I'm sure you must feel happy to like get to do that and see them get excited about learning something new. Just congratulations on doing that. You're just such a good mom, and that's so amazing. And just that must just feel really, really good. Like I couldn't imagine. I bet you geek out to your husband afterwards to be like, and then they held the like they held the level and it was so cute. And like, it just must feel really good doing that for the next generation.
Oh, yeah. And then, yeah, I guess so. A lot of pictures, a lot of videos. Because to the dad.
Ah,
Here, let's take a picture so that my dad can see it.
aw, that's so cute. And that's a really, really wonderful thing with the next generation. I love that. I think having kids be involved in like trades and like seeing that representation of women young, I think is just so powerful, more powerful than anything, right? Like she's going to be talking about to be like, my mom made that house, my mom made that house to probably everybody that listens, right? For the last one, I was wondering if you could speak to your younger self, if you could talk to your younger self, what would be the advice that you would give them kind of just starting out?
I'd say my younger self was really shy
Mm.
and scared to say no. So I would tell my younger self that it's okay to say no and stand behind what you want.
That's good
So,
advice. Good advice. I love that advice to younger self. I don't know if you needed it, man. Like here you are starting your own business and making your own houses, but I think it's fantastic advice. I do love standing up and going for what you want and
yeah, I'm
saying
still
no.
working on that. Saying no.
Yeah.
There's projects that I should say no to. I'm not doing that again.
You know what? At least you're learning, right? Like at least you do that project and now you probably know if you're like, nope, that floor is janky or like this type of foundation's not going to work for us. Like now you probably know a little bit better to be like yes or no of a project.
Yeah, I have narrowed it down to what I'm good at.
Mm. And kind of what's the next steps, Yara, for you other than, I mean, it sounds like you have loads on your plate of being a full-time mom, having 2 houses to build, and also these build for her days that are coming up that are so exciting. Do you have any kind of new projects that are starting up in the fall? What's the next step for the business? Where's that headed?
Just to be starting to do houses. I would like to make rentals.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah. There's a lack of that here and some inexpensive housing because there's also a lack of that here. I mean, if you Google right now, places to rent, you would find zero. It's all word of mouth.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, that is a huge problem.
Find them.
Oh my goodness. 6 months is what you said?
What was that?
6 months is what you said?
Yeah, 6 months, a year to find a rental.
Oh, yeah, no, that's ridiculous. There's no
Yeah.
way that it should be that. Shame.
So hopefully I can do that.
I love that.
I want to do something with the community. Like there's, here where I am, it's very like touristy.
Okay.
So there's things for tourists to do, but not for kids.
Oh, shame. For people who live there that like spend all their time.
Yeah, there's nothing for the kids to do here. So maybe like a park, or like a skate park or something along those lines.
Oh, that would be really cool. That would be a fun use of cement, of a new skill of learning cement.
There you go.
I I love that. I think that's a fantastic answer. Like more affordable housing, more rental options, and then also things for the community. I mean, I think that anything in trades, I think you have the ability to give back to the community so much more accessibly and like make a impact in their lives. But when you're in carpentry and building things, you can have that direct impact. You already do with building someone's house, but that would be really cool to give back to the community.
Yeah. And then also I want to do more internships.
Okay.
Maybe like one every, I don't know, every season, like for 3 months and then the next one just to get enough people through.
That like hosting internships, like having people come in with a company.
Yeah. A lack of tradespeople.
Oh, that would be amazing. And when would they have to kind of have trade school or like have their apprenticeship come down or how would that work?
No, I was thinking just like them submitting a letter or something that they're interested in construction and then what kind of things they want to do.
I love it.
And that, yeah, I don't really have too many requirements. I don't think.
Yeah. I think these are all amazing things. And like, thank you so much for doing them. I love the Built by Her days. I love this internship program. I know any young girl or boy right now listening that are coming up in construction would love that. And that's really cool. That's a perfect answer. I hope
to anybody.
Yeah. I'm
Doesn't matter.
I can't wait to see it. Like I love that future and I think that's so amazing. And Yara, thank you so much for chatting with us today. It was so nice to talk to you. So nice to meet you. Can't wait to see you in August. Thank you again. And thank you for coming on, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Yara. And thank you guys for listening. I hope you loved this episode. We will see you next Wednesday. This has been the Smoko podcast. So bye-bye. Bye-bye for now. Thank you again, Yara, for coming on to the show. Bye.